There are a lot of articles talking about the risks of the current market, and I think a lot of it has to do with just, trying to sell ads. But that being said, there is still kernels of truth in a lot of these analysis. The articles themselves have truth in them. The question is, how does it impact you, and how should it impact your decisions? I got a question yesterday asking if this was a good time to buy. I don't think there's ever really a good or a bad time, like in to just say generally. It really does depend on your specific situation. If you can purchase a home that's affordable, if you need to purchase a home that's affordable, and you can do so, then you might as well, right? I don't see what the downside to that is. If you need shelter, stable shelter for your family, then you should get that. And you can afford to do so, then you should. If you can't afford to do so, then you shouldn't, because you might end up putting yourself and your family in a greater risk down the road if uh, if you put yourself in a financially strenuous situation. A lot of divorces happen because of poorly managed finances. A lot of stress and frustration come along with that. So if you can purchase a home without creating that significant burden that can come along with it if you do it in an incorrect way, then by all means, why wouldn't you buy a home? Don't wait for somebody else to make that decision for you. If it's something, I can understand, why somebody would need that confidence because you're getting a lot of different information from everywhere. I mean, you see this red hot activity posing significant long-term risk to housing, and you just read the headline, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I'm not gonna buy anything now. The market's overheated, right? I mean, I'm going to buy a house right now, and then the price is gonna drop 20 or 30% in the future, which may be the case, but my point is this: if you're already able to afford the home and you can get the benefit of having the home and you're not planning on selling the home, then what does it actually matter if the price drops? I mean, I can understand, you want to have that flexibility. You want to have, if you need to sell the home and not have to worry about anything else, right? You just want it to very straightforward process. But if you're setting down roots in a community, then you don't have to sell the property. I mean, there used to be the idea when you bought a house, you're there for a long time. You just do the renovations, you do all that stuff yourself. If you need an additional space, you kind of put it on. But we kind of got rid of that mindset, and we treat homes almost as much as we treat, it's very similar like, to the way that we treat clothes. We purchase, when we don't like an outfit, we just abandon it for a new one. But a home, you don't necessarily have to do that. Like, you get something, like if you have an idea of, how many kids you want, obviously things can go outside of your plans. I mean, life is a lot of unexpected things. But I think you just need to have a bit of an idea of what it is you're looking for in your life, and then you put the things in your life that fit that, as opposed to bending your life around the things that you see around you. I don't know if that made any sense, but um, yeah, I mean, essentially what I'm saying is, don't get a house because you feel like you need to get a house. Get a house because it makes sense for your long-term plans, and get a house that makes sense for your long-term plans. That's basically it. So let's get into the article. So in the currently overheated activity is the currently overheated activity in major markets undercutting the housing segment's future prospects? Benjamin Tal of CIBC Capital Markets Inc. seems to think so. Tal noted that this alarming trend is especially apparent in Toronto, where the low interest rates have pushed property investors towards a condo market, despite the specter of considerable losses in the near term. Despite the prospects of considerable losses in the near term. Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, if you have no ability to move outside of Toronto, right? Like you can't go that much further outside of Toronto. to get a house because what does a three-bedroom condo go for in Toronto, right? I mean, you can get a house, you can get a backyard for the same price, but it's not obviously you're gonna have to go an hour and a half to 2 hours outside of the city to get that. But I mean, why buy a box in the sky when if you're gonna have a family, right? Um, I mean, not that's not to say that it doesn't make any sense to do that, but you should actually question whether or not it makes sense for you to do that. It's really about the supply demand mismatch, and people are looking at interest rates. They know interest rates will rise. Interest rates will rise. That's a guarantee. It's a question of when, right? It's a question of when. So basically, they're stealing activity from the future in order to be part of this low interest rate environment and take advantage of it, as they should. The market's condo sales activity increased by 85.5% annually in January, according to Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. Because at the end of the day, we have a supply issue, and we have immigration is the taps are coming back on. People need to live somewhere. Where's the first place they're going to be living? Are the students going to be coming back for school? Where are they going to be staying? There is a supply issue when it comes to housing. The markets, so a major driver of this is the fact that the asset class represents a more affordable entry into the market compared to single detached units, especially in Toronto. So Tal cited recent CIBC research that found investors were being forced to absorb losses to the tune of hundreds of dollars per month, and yet choosing to keep their hold on the properties due to expected long-term value, such as a recipe for significant price growth, Tal cautioned. If you think that Toronto is unaffordable now, you wait, Tal said. Toronto is becoming like Berlin, like London, like Manhattan. It's becoming more and more unaffordable, and therefore we know our kids will struggle. Yeah, and that's just the end way. That's a great way to end that on a positive note. Yeah, but it is what it is, though, right? At the end of the day, it's the prices are moved by supply and demand. If everybody wants to be in the same city, then you're gonna have to pay the price to be there, right? Because other people want to be there too, and it's a bidding process, and more people means a higher bid. So, can you move to an outside market and get still have a good quality of life? Yeah, of course, but it's not going to be the same kind of life. So you might have to adjust your expectations. But is it worth having a home? Is it worth owning a home and being outside of Toronto? And I think that's the real question. I mean, a lot of us, are either ourselves or our parents, or at some point we had parents, or we had a relative, somebody related to us that came over here. They traveled great distances just so that they could have a better life. And I think we're in a situation where we're having to do the same. I mean, obviously, it's not as treacherous as crossing an ocean, with with what 1800s technology, 18th century, 19th century technology. But we still have to make adjustments. We still have to sacrifice a little bit, right, for our desires, the thing that we want. Maybe we had an idea of what a life would be in the city, growing up in the city, having a family in the city, and now we can't really do that. So we have to move out, either out west or we go south, southern Ontario, places that are more affordable, but will allow us to have a good quality of life. And I think that's really what we have to focus on, and maybe we can continue as we do that. We'll build new communities that are viable, that are sustainable, that don't need to be attached to Toronto, and we'll be able to lay the seeds for the future communities, right? uh, I don't want to make it sound so grand, but in a sense, you will be the pioneers that will create these new areas for people to come to and live and enjoy life. And I think maybe if we take that kind of perspective, it's not the worst thing that we can't afford a home in downtown Toronto. Anyways, that's it from me. Let me know what your thoughts are. And yeah, share it in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. All right, have a great day.